there, folks, and welcome back to our final episode of Friday Night Spotlight, brought to you by 911 Air Repair, your local air conditioning experts specializing in maintenance, repair, and new installations. Well, unfortunately for us, we no longer have any horses in this race. All of our playoff teams were eliminated last week: Casa Grande Union, Santa Cruz Valley, and who am I forgetting? Post and Butte. So we are just going to give you guys a general wrap-up of how our season went. Overall, just David, going back to our playoff games, you were at the Santa Cruz game. They went up against number 3, Phoenix Scottsdale Christian, and just what did you see from the Dust Devils in that game?
Well, I think it was no different from the other 2 games that we had that last week with Post and Butte and Casa Grande Union. They just ran into a really tough team, and all 3 teams just ran into really solid groups that were very loaded with senior talent and very loaded with just talent across the board. And, it was just tough sledding for them going into enemy territory, and just the offense was not clicking as much as they've had in the past, especially coming off of the previous week playing Tombstone and scoring 49 points. So, it was just a showing of youth a little bit. I think this is just kind of the mark of where this team is at right now. They are very good. They're very solid, but it's getting over that hump and getting over that playoff experience that they all need. Now they kind of realize what it takes to win. They realize what is important when it comes to a playoff run, and I think it's just going to only elevate the Santa Cruz Valley Union Dust Devils going into next season. A lot of guys are going to be going into their senior year, so that is the year to do it. Quarterback Nathan Harris will be a senior. Both running backs, Jonathan Ramos and Aiden Isagari, will be seniors. A good wide receiver core as well. We're probably going to start taking that leap forward. So this offense is just going to only get better, and the defense is still just as solid, and they're just going to have to keep building the pieces up and finding the right spots in order to continue to get back to the two-way mountaintop.
I was at the CG Union game against Glendale Apollo, and like David mentioned, pretty similar situation here. They were they were the away team, they were the underdog, the number 12 seed going up against number 5. And hey, when you go up against the 3rd leading rusher in all of Arizona, things are going to be a bit difficult for you guys, and that's what kind of happened for CG Union. Their offense, there were some miscommunications issues. You had the quarterback pitching the ball one way, running back going the different way, and, it's just hard to kind of bounce back from that. The momentum just kind of got lost from their sails and everything, but overall, towards the end, final quarter, yes, they had a running clock against them, but CG Union managed to put together some pretty successful runs, and I think that's kind of the building block for them. This is their 2nd year in the 5A conference. They were back in the playoffs for the first time since they made the jump up to 5A. Last time they were there, they won the 4A conference state championship title. So, CG Union is progressing in the right direction. They do have a couple handful of seniors that were big key playmakers for them throughout their whole tenure. So it's going to be interesting to see just what the CG Union team looks like next year. Yes, you're going to have this experience for some of these guys, but there's going to be new guys coming in, and we'll just have to wait and see just how everything comes together for them. Got to credit head coach Mark Luna for the fantastic job he's done also in his 2nd season with the Cougars. Now, just kind of talking overall about our season. David, kind of going back to our mid-season, likes, dislikes, just overall thoughts on this year.
Yeah, I have 3 moments that really kind of, top my board of best moments from this season so far. We've already talked about 2 of them. So the third one's going to be Santa Cruz getting back to the two-way playoffs after, 2 years of just either just barely missing out or just kind of rebuilding the team after their 2021 or 2020 victory. This team is definitely in the right direction. They're going to continue to get better and better, like I've said before. Second version is Casa Grande Union getting to the 5A playoffs for the first time in school history since moving up to 5A last season. Mark Luna has really built a culture around just caring for these guys. He has known these guys literally since they were kids, from his youth program as well, and seeing them kind of grow up in front of his eyes. So he's definitely built a culture where it's about winning and it's about caring for one another, but it's also about getting the job done. So my test for them is, can they be the team that we know they can be? We've said it all year. There are 2 teams that show up at Casa Grande Union whenever they play. They either are the team that they know they can be, where they are really solid both offensively or defensively, or they're the team that shoots themselves in the foot with penalties. They have to mark that up. They have to be more disciplined if they want to continue to where they're going. If they want to do anything in the 5A playoffs, they're going to have to shape that up and be better in that aspect. My top moment is going to go to the Warriors of ALA Ironwood. This team came out of nowhere and shocked a lot of people, including us. ALA Ironwood never made a playoffs, never had a winning season before this year, and they have just blown everybody out of the water. They were able to accomplish those two things. They had a winning season, and they were able to make it to the playoffs. And in their playoff game, it was a very close matchup with Valley Christian. They lost by just a field goal. So, I mean, ALA Ironwood is my early pick for top team in Pinal County next season. Their running back, Aiden Williams, is the best in Pinal County. I think it's a statement after what he did this year. Over 2,000 yards rushing, leading rusher in the ALA Ironwoods conference, region. And Aiden Williams is just going to be a guy going forward. Everyone's going to need to look at this kid because he is absolutely a special talent, and everyone should be worried about what the Warriors are going to be able to do next season. They are going to be a very tough team. I think they have a chance of winning a home game advantage in the playoffs next season. I think they'll be right back where they were, but even better. I think a second year under Lauren Dawson is going to only elevate them, and I'm really excited to see what the Warriors can do next season. So those are my top 3 highlights from there. It was a really solid season all around, but those 3 were my favorite going out this year.
All right, and now continuing on with kind of David's trend here of the underdog. I talked about them all season long, and big turning point for one of our other teams is Maricopa. Being in 5A, losing, what was it? I think like 20 games in a row or so, and finally snapping that losing streak this season. They almost finished with a 5-5 record. However, they weren't able to accomplish that. But hey, much like our other teams, they are young and they're trending in the right direction. They finished 4-6 this year, so just these guys coming back, getting that experience. Experience is always key here. So just coming back, building off of this season. What is he? I want to say he's a sophomore. Getting my years mixed up here, but quarterback Jose Cardona Jr. just a big playmaker for them, and it's exciting to see what he will be able to accomplish for the Rams in his remaining years in high school. Another team. Not really an underdog. We had high expectations for them. However, they kind of underperformed a little bit, unfortunately, from my perspective, and that's Florence. And big question mark here for Florence is they're losing a lot of key playmakers. However, they showed this year that they have that next man up mentality, and they can really do a lot of damage. What can these Gophers do under head coach Jesse Hart in his 3rd season? Who knows? The sky's really the limit with this team. And continuing on with that trend, the sky's the limit here. David's talked about his guys. Yes, we try to be unbiased here, but unfortunately, we're kind of stuck covering our same team pretty much all season long. So I got to talk about my guys in Vista Grande and just everything they were able to accomplish this year. 3rd time in a row having a winning season. They were so close to making the playoffs for the first time since 2015. Unfortunately, the mythical AIA power ranking system, and however it works, Vista Grande couldn't make that jump up to the number 16 spot. But hey, these Spartans are definitely heading in the right direction. They just hit a couple bumps along the road, but it's bumps that you have to go through to prove that, hey, you're building in the right direction, and potentially you can be a playoff team. That's the next step for them. They got to beat these teams like Gilbert Mesquite, Chandler Arizona College Prep, Phoenix Arcadia, next year we have this 2-year block coming up again. They're going to face these same opponents again. They're going to have another chance at going at them. So can these Spartans do it next year? I think they can. A handful of these guys are going to be back. They are junior heavy right now. So like I mentioned before, the sky's the limit with this team. It's going to be an exciting year for them. And just all around, I think, like David mentioned it with ALA, Ironwood, CG Union, Santa Cruz, we have a lot of teams trending in the right direction. I think that's the theme for us this season, just trending right direction, and just how can you build off of this for next season. Overall, David, anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, I'm going to challenge 2 teams that had their first seasons this year, and I'm expecting to them continue to improve. That's Desert Sunrise and ALA Anthem South. Those teams had their first years, like I mentioned, and it was a little bit of struggle for them. Anthem South went winless. Desert Sunrise won 1 game. So I think now is just the time. They finally got that first year out of their way. They're able to kind of get over that hump and now start really looking forward to the future and finding those right pieces that really want to, encourage the team and also move the team forward. So I'm expecting a little bit of a better season from both of them. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens next season. But one thing is for sure, we still have a loaded talent roster here at all of our schools in Pinal County. So it's going to be another exciting season next year. But now our focus shifts to winter sports. We got basketball coming up, both boys and girls. We're super excited to go cover that, and we'll see you guys at that point later.
And we will be taking a brief hiatus, as David mentioned, as we make the transition to our winter sports. So be sure to check back with us whenever we are back live for our Pinal Prep Spotlight.